everyone. It's the Book Cougars, two middle-aged women on the hunt for a good read. I'm Emily.
And I'm Chris.
We have some books to talk about.
Indeed.
Imagine that. So I'm holding a damp copy because I had a little bathtub incident again. It seems to be a common problem I'm having these days. Reading this book last night, When Cicadas Cry by Carolyn Cleveland. This book is publishing on April 9th. Thank you to Union Square Books for sending us an early copy. I did not drop it because it's boring. It is the exact opposite of that. It's get your attention right away. This is about a young Black man in the South who is an accountant, and one of his clients calls him to drop off some paperwork at a local church. He arrives. She has been bludgeoned by a cross in the church, which is typically not the type of book you're going to find me reading. That happens at the very beginning, and then it becomes about the court case, which is something that I do like to read about. Carolyn Cleveland is a lawyer in the South, so she knows of which she is writing. And what happens is it turns out that that young man, and this is at the very beginning, is not guilty of the crime, even though the police who arrive look at him and decide that he is. And there are chapters in the book from the point of view of the person who did commit the crime, but we don't know who they are.
Okay.
It's very intriguing. When Cicadas Cry, Carolyn Cleveland, April 9th.
Oh, so we have a bit of theme going on in Southern literature. When the
Yes.
crawdad sang,
Yes.
when the cicadas
Well,
cry.
she talks about at the very beginning how the cicadas come out every 17 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so they were last seen in South Carolina in 2017. That same year, a brutal murder took place in a rural church nestled deep in the brooding shadows of the South Carolina low country. Like so many evils, its seed had been sown years before where it had since lay burrowing, becoming destined to reemerge. So she's using the metaphor about racism reemerging. Well, it never has gone away, but it reared its head, I guess, in a way that it had during the 60s, right? And very similar to how cicadas reappear.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's really a great metaphor.
Mm-hmm.
I know Illinois right now, I think they just went through a 17-year cicada. So
yeah,
it's so intense.
Yeah.
Unreal.
Yeah, it is.
Well, I am currently still in 1679 Scotland reading The Maiden by Kate Foster. I am enjoying it. I just haven't had a lot of time to read this week. So I am looking forward to doing nothing at all this weekend but read.
Oh, me too.
That is all I'm doing.
Yeah.
I might rake a little bit in the garden, but that is it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, I also have this one. I just love the cover. This is one that's going to go on my Book Cougars romance card, bingo card.
Nice.
Love and Hot Chicken. And it says, a delicious Southern novel by Mary Liza Hartung. This book is already out, and hot chicken is a very specific kind of spicy chicken that I believe came about in Nashville.
Yeah.
I have a great nonfiction book. I should have brought it that Chris gave me that I am partway through that explains the family and behind it, the start of it. Anyway, this book is about a young woman who comes back home and her father has died and she's only expecting to be there for the funeral and ends up sticking around to help run the hot chicken stand that her family has. Actually, I shouldn't say that. I don't know if her family has it. I may have misspoke about that, but it's a chicken stand in the town. The blurb in the paperwork that came from the publisher said it's part Gilmore Girls, part Steel Magnolias.
Nice.
Count me in. I loved both of those shows.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Nice. All right, you're wiggling the table.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Just saying.
Poking the bear. Sorry.
So the other book, I plan on starting this nonfiction book. It's a slim little book, The Writing of Fiction. It's by Edith Wharton. And I picked this up mainly because of Edith Wharton, because I'm on a quest to read her. I'd like to read all of her books. Eventually I'm not on any kind of time frame or anything. But I was so delighted by the introductory paragraph There's an introduction written by Brandon Taylor. And let me read this to you all. I first came to Edith Wharton's The Writing of Fiction as a creative writing student. I was skeptical of books on craft because, as a genre, they tend to be either too dryly technical or too spiritual to be of any real use. Either the advice made writing feel like an assembly line or a weird seance. What I wanted was a craft book that felt like a rich, interesting conversation about stories and characters, not full of drills and exercises, but true and real observations about the art of fiction. And this is such a book, he says. So I'm so pleasantly surprised about that. I was expecting maybe to read like dry old advice, but for a contemporary writer to speak so highly of this book that was written, 100 years ago, I'm pretty excited to get started on it.
And Brandon Taylor, I love that paragraph. I mean, he's a fantastic writer too. His book, Real Life, I just loved. And our friend Russell from Ink and Paper blog, one of his top 10s the year it came out. And he also has a story collection called Filthy Animals. Mm-hmm. Fantastic writer. So high praise from a contemporary author as well.
Yeah.
So. Well, we also have a big announcement, which is our second quarter read along in our year of reading romance. We chose Nora Roberts' book, The Awakening, which is the first book in the Dragonheart Legacy, which right now is a trilogy of 3.
There's 3. It goes this way, I think. Okay. Yeah. Becoming and then Choice. Yeah.
It was really hard to choose a Nora Roberts. She is incredibly prolific. She's been writing for a long time. Part of why we chose this book, well, there's several reasons. One, there is an audiobook and an ebook available. Some of her older books, there were not audiobooks readily available. And it's also a subgenre that Chris and I don't read a lot. Fantasy,
yeah. So it's romance, fantasy. It was published in 2020. We wanted something a little bit more recent as well.
Yeah.
Since our first pick, which was fabulous, but that was published in 1996.
Right.
Indigo. So here we are in 2020, and this is some time traveling. Is I think what the fantasy is about. Ireland, Philadelphia.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
So
I'm excited. I'm not always great at world building in my head, so I'm curious to see how that works out for me. Super excited. If you are interested in joining the Zoom discussion, you can email us at bookcougars@gmail.com. That will be on June 2nd, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We also have a Goodreads thread where you can chat about it anytime. We also have a Goodreads thread on just the romance genre in general. We'll put links to all of those down below.
Yeah. And then in the other news, for those of you who are patron supporters over on Patreon of the Book Cougars, this is our giveaway for April.
Cute cover.
Isn't that adorable? Love this cover so much. And it has some nice art on the spine as well. Yeah. So Bless Your Heart is by Lindy Ryan. And it's about 2 sisters who own a funeral home. And the town gossip dies and ends up at their funeral home, but she's not dead.
Oopsie.
Dun, dun, dun. So this is part horror, part mystery, part humor. I can't wait to read this one.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to it. So if you are not yet a Patreon, you have until April 15th. Probably April 14th, really, right?
Yeah.
Because we'll pick our winner randomly on the 15th. So all paid levels, $1 and up, are eligible to win our monthly giveaway. And if you're not interested in becoming a patron at this time, the least you could do is subscribe to our channel and like us.
We would appreciate that.
How's that for a pitch? We always forget to ask people to subscribe and to like if they enjoyed this video.
It's really nice. And subscribing helps you. It helps us. It's just a good neighborly thing to do. We appreciate it. And then the thumbs up is how you like. If thumbs down, we don't want to know. Oh,
you made it happen. And I can't make it happen.
I don't know.
All right.
Who knows?
All right. I think we should probably say goodbye on that
Yes.
note.
Let us know what you're reading, please. We want to know.
All right, everybody. Happy reading.